Hello and welcome to another video. My name is Matt O'Leary, and today we are going to be getting into Derek Carr rejecting a trade and what that means for the New York Jets. So, the Jets are in the market for a quarterback. Shocking, right? Is that news to you? It shouldn't be news to you, but the Jets are in the market for a quarterback, and it feels like they are all in on Aaron Rodgers right now. But someone who could theoretically be an option for the New York Jets, Derek Carr, is set to hit the market in another way that was maybe not expected originally. So Derek Carr was someone that the Raiders were going to move on from. They benched him the final 2 games of the year. They are going to go in another direction, whether that's a veteran like Aaron Rodgers, whether it's someone through the draft, whether it's Jimmy G. We don't know, but they are definitely moving on from Derek Carr, and it ended a little bit strange. So they have either until Wednesday of this week to trade Derek Carr or release Derek Carr. Otherwise, they would be hit with some massive cap number and some guarantees would jump in there on his contract. So something is going to happen within the next few days for Carr. But what we were able to find out was he is not going to accept a trade. The Saints and the Raiders had a trade in place. He met with the Saints for a couple of days, and then he decided, we're going to veto any trades. I want to hit the market. So what does that mean? Could he eventually sign with the New Orleans Saints? Yes, I think that's probably actually what's most likely going to happen here, but that allows him to talk with other teams, because the only way that he could speak with other teams originally was if the Raiders and that team had a trade in place for him. And supposedly the compensation all the Raiders wanted back in return was a third-round pick, which is, again, that seems reasonable to me. But obviously Carr wants to hit the open market so he can talk to as many teams as possible. And then that obviously leads to why the hell we're talking about it, the New York Jets. Do the New York Jets get involved in the Derek Carr sweepstakes? And while he would be one of my preferred options for the Jets, I just don't think it's very likely that they get involved here. For whatever reason, they seem to not be very interested in Derek Carr. It's obvious their number one target is Aaron Rodgers. Right now, they've been in contact with the Green Bay Packers about Aaron Rodgers as he enters his darkness for 4 days. He'll be in his dark room for the next 4 days until Thursday. So maybe we hear on Friday, Saturday, or sometime early next week what the deal is with Aaron Rodgers, if he wants to play, if he wants to play for the Packers, if he wants to get moved, whatever the hell it is. Maybe we can hear at the end of the week. But their fallback plan does not seem like it will be Derek Carr. And Rich Cimini has pointed out that Carr doesn't seem like he's the Jets guy. They don't have the interest there. So my assumption would be, if they strike out on Aaron Rodgers, enter Jimmy G. Now, here's the thing with Jimmy G, and I've kind of had my stance on this for a little while now. When he's on the field and healthy, he's an okay quarterback. He's solid. He wins a bunch of games. The 49ers like him. Obviously, they're not going to bring him back. They've already stated that they are not going to bring back Jimmy G in this instance. But this is someone that Robert Saleh is familiar with due to his time with the 49ers. It would have made even more sense if Mike LaFleur was still here, as he was his pass game coordinator for a few years with the San Francisco 49ers, and they had success. The biggest concern with Jimmy G is not his actual on-field performance, which is fine. Is it elite? No. Is it even great? I would say no, but he's good. He's okay. He's solid. The issue is staying healthy. He played 15 games in 2021. He played 16 games in 2019. Other than that, he has missed significant time every single year that he's been with the 49ers. Now, you can't count New England because he wasn't the starting quarterback. He was never going to be the starter. He filled in for a few games with Tom Brady's suspension. But in the years prior to that Super Bowl run in 2019, and then in 2020, and then this year in 2022, injuries were a thing for him. So if you are then pivoting to Jimmy G, assuming that Aaron Rodgers either retires, wants to stay in Green Bay, gets traded to Tennessee or the Raiders, wherever, not the New York Jets, you better have a good backup. You better have a good backup, because the chances are he's going to have to play. Like, can't you just see the Jets next year? They're like, I don't know, 7-3, 10 games into the year, and then Jimmy G suffers an injury. And then it's like, oh, well, now you're back to square one. Down the stretch, which just like you were last year, the Jets were what, 6-3, and then that's when the quarterback turmoil really started to begin after that point. And like in that scenario, do you bring back Mike White? You still have Zach Wilson on the roster. It feels like the Jets are going to still have Zach on the roster. I think that's the case. Some people think they're going to move on. I just don't necessarily see the trade value, and they very well could be holding out hope that they could turn something around with Zach. Is it likely? I don't know. I would say probably not very likely, but you could still, sell yourself on we're still developing the number 2 pick. Do you want him as QB2? Do you want to say if Jimmy G gets hurt, you're going to go right back to Zach Wilson? Do you want to save a guy like Mike White, who proved that I think he can be a spot starter? I don't think he's really anything more than that. I would be unimpressed if the Jets go back in 2023 with a quarterback room of Mike White and Zach Wilson. They say Mike White's going to be our guy. I don't love that either, but man, it feels the eggs are all in the Aaron Rodgers basket. And I know this is supposed to be about Derek Carr, but it kind of pivots to, okay, they're not in on Derek Carr, so what is their fallback plan if they don't land Rodgers? Because it seems like Rodgers is their plan A, and then after that, I would say Jimmy G is their plan B. And people are going to say, oh, well, Lamar. You could be in on Lamar Jackson. Maybe if they franchise tag him, the Ravens, and then he doesn't want to play on the franchise tag and they can't come to a long-term agreement on a contract, maybe they would try to move him. Move him in conference, though? I know they don't play in the same division, but it feels like it's pretty rare that a quarterback of that magnitude gets moved in conference. For instance, Russell Wilson gets traded from the NFC to the AFC. You had the quarterback trade of Deshaun Watson going from the AFC to, actually, there you go. Deshaun Watson, AFC to AFC. So maybe it's not impossible, but I just don't think it's that is the most likely outcome. I think if Lamar was to get traded, Carolina jumps out, Atlanta jumps out. I think those would be the 2 spots where I would think he would be most likely to go over the New York Jets. But I guess Lamar could maybe be an option, or maybe there's going to be some random one that we're not even thinking of. Who the hell knows? Dak, Kyler Murray, somebody who just randomly pops out that they become available. But as of now, and there are no signs to me that indicate the Jets are going to be in on Derek Carr, which I don't love. I think he could be a nice number 2 option if he can't land Aaron Rodgers. But with this timeline, they're going to be all in on Rodgers. And if that doesn't work, God bless him. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Once again, I am Matt O'Leary. Subscribe here if you're new. Share with a friend, and I'll talk to you next time.